Hey, thanks for joining us today. Our guest this week is Emily Marburger, the Executive Director of the Montana Democratic Party. Thanks for joining us today, Emily.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. I've got a bio to read before we get into it. So, Emily Marburger has worked on numerous winning campaigns, including State Representative Mandy Steele to flip the Pennsylvania State House majority. She was elected to and served as mayor of Bellevue, Pennsylvania. In a competitive self-run race. She also served as executive director of the Allegheny County Democratic Committee, directing campaigns and voter turnout efforts in the highest voter turnout county in Pennsylvania.
That's right.
Very cool. And now she's in Montana as the executive director of the Montana Democratic Party.
That's right. Yeah, so excited to be here.
All right. And who is this?
Well, this is Toast, also known as Toasty. She is the new Montana Democratic Party hype girl in training.
Love that.
She was adopted Thursday from the Lewis and Clark Humane Society, so she'll be hitting the road with me to travel around Montana to get Democrats elected.
All right.
Is this her first time on TV?
Her TV debut.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And also, my co-host today is Dr. Lauren Wilson, who is the vice chair of the Missoula County Democratic Central Committee. Okay, well, let's get into this. Do you want to take the first question, Lauren?
Yeah, sure. So, welcome to Montana.
Thank you, thank you.
We know since you started the job earlier this year, you've put thousands of miles on your car visiting voters and central committees and kind of everywhere in the state. What are some of the biggest takeaways that you've gotten from that travel that you've done so far?
Well, one, that's why I have little Toast here now. I have a companion to be in the car with. I put about 10,000 miles in the 4 months that I've been on the job. Yeah. Just because Montana is so big, and it is so important that we are, here, let me just put her down. It is so important that we are present in every community across the state. And so what I've learned the most in my time traveling is that a lot of people have felt that people have not been showing up in their communities, have not been delivering for them, have not been learning from these communities. And so there's so much opportunity for us to grow and develop this year. And what I've also been learning is people are really excited for change.
Awesome.
They're so excited to see, the pain that they're feeling from the Trump administration right now be alleviated by electing new people to office. People who have Montana focused first and foremost, and who are ready to move things in the right direction. So it's been exciting.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite spot that you visited?
Just do a little re-straighten here from Toasty.
Or one that surprised you a lot?
Okay, I'm going to have to always go to Butte is amazing because it reminds me of Pittsburgh, which is home.
Awesome. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, very working class town. Very cool. I like that. But, Montana is just so beautiful. Depending on where you're going, it's just so different and varied, and people are so passionate about where they're coming from.
Toast is off to the races while we're talking. Excellent.
Okay, very good. My question, what originally sparked your interest in politics?
So, I'd always been one of those people who was, voting in presidential years, who was paying attention to national topics. And then when Donald Trump was elected, I thought, oh my gosh, I've been ignorant in this. I need to pay more attention. I need to pay attention to what's happening at a local level. And so when I did that, I learned that the two people running for mayor of my community were misrepresenting that they were Democrats to pander the Democratic majority there.
Oh, wow.
One was a MAGA, a Trump voting MAGA Republican.
Yeah.
The other bragged about being a Christo-fascist libertarian. And they were both running as Democrats of my little town.
Wow.
So, in that moment, I decided to run myself and give Democrats an option to actually vote for a Democrat on the ballot. And when I did that, I started paying more and more attention to everything going on and getting involved locally and building back the Democratic Party in the area. And, making sure I was voting every year, twice a year, because that's what we do in Pennsylvania, every year, twice a year. And so making sure that we had all of that going on. And so, that's really kind of how I got involved, and it's just bloomed from there. After serving a term of mayor, I started working on campaigns full-time for my job. I worked for the presidential campaign. I worked for Biden in 2020. I flipped a state house race, and I was the executive director of the Allegheny County Democratic Committee. Now that committee has about 2,000 people on it.
Wow.
It's a huge committee, and Allegheny County has about 100,000 more people living in it than the state of Montana. And so being able to build up the infrastructure of the Democratic Party through that experience and understanding what the state party could have done to help us more in Pennsylvania and there has kind of directed me to, influence what I need to be doing in Montana to help build a grassroots organization here.
Sure. And after all that experience that you had in Pennsylvania, what was it about this job in Montana that intrigued you so much that you wanted to move here?
Well, one, being from Pennsylvania, I'm always up for a challenge, right? Purple State, through and through. They thought we were blue for a second there, but, we showed them. But, coming to Montana and seeing the opportunity, right? That we have so much momentum behind us right now nationally, but understanding that you can come to an area and when you build back democratic infrastructure and you support a grassroots organization where you're listening to the people on the work, doing the ground, listening to communities about what they need, you can really build back. And so seeing this opportunity in Montana, I saw that opportunity being present here. And I'm just so passionate about the work that can be done whenever you're allowed to do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so, getting to talk through the board and understanding that they have a good, a good vision that was compatible with mine, here I am.
Very good. It's a big midterm election year. What are the vibes? With zero elected representation at the state level in Montana, can Democrats make a turnaround this year?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I'm going across the state, and people are just so excited this year. They are. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted by Toasty chomping on something behind the curtain here.
We don't know what he's chewing, but hopefully it's not electric cables.
We'll just do a little Toasty check.
Yeah.
Oh,
he found a plant.
Excellent. Okay. Toasty's made a comeback. Okay.
I can do toasty duty if you want.
Want me to do toast duty?
All right, toasty.
Okay.
So,
all right,
okay. Back to the question here. Vibes are strong across Montana, right? People are so excited. And, everywhere from Miles City to Glendive to here in Missoula to Judith Gap to, Great Falls. I'm meeting with community members and I'm going to different, political gatherings. And I'm meeting independents and I'm meeting Republicans who are showing up to learn more about the Democratic Party and about our Democratic candidates because they feel the pain now that's being caused by the Trump administration. The gas prices, grocery prices, a war that they don't want to be in, retaliatory tariffs making it impossible for trade lines for our farmers that have existed for long times to continue. They're looking for a change and they're looking for someone to give them hope. And so, I'm able to connect with them and they're leaving these meetings happy and excited to vote for Democrats for maybe sometimes the first time in their lives. Yeah. So it's really exciting that we have so many great candidates, particularly here in the Western Congressional District. Holy smokes. You have those 4 guys who are gunning for this and they're working hard to make sure that they're representing Montanans. It's just so exciting. We have an opportunity to send them to Washington, D.C. to make sure Montana's interests are being listened to and being served.
Yeah, and that race in particular, there's so much energy going into that right now. And we kind of made a decision early on this year as a central committee to really focus a lot of our efforts in that race. Like, we spread the love in all the races, but this one in particular we know is winnable.
That's right.
Flippable.
Yeah. It's absolutely flippable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And we're coming off some hard losses in 2024, right?
Right.
We lost our longtime Democratic senator and had a lot of really tough losses. There's been criticisms of the party after that, right? And, some thoughts as to how do we build back to be a big tent to bring in those voters that we might have lost and continue to build the party. So be curious your thoughts as to how do we go about that?
Yeah, right. So, obviously I wasn't here in 24, so, I can't speak to what specifically happened in Montana. But, we lost Bob Casey in Pennsylvania in 2024, the same year. And so, what I saw in politics that year was a top-down approach. And that's not how we win. We win from a bottom-up approach by supporting the people on the ground doing the work and by listening to people in the community about what they need and electing people to help deliver on those needs. And so, I think that this is going to be a long game. We're going to keep building back even this year. We're going to keep building back stronger. But, that's the big game changer, I think, this year, that as the Montana Democratic Party, we are going into these local communities and supporting, folks like you all in the Missoula Central Committee who are doing the work on the ground and telling us what resources you need so that we can support you to do the work to get your candidates elected. And, through that, we're also providing more opportunities for people to learn about, voter engagement, how to vote, when to vote, where to vote, and learn more about their candidates. And providing, I don't even know how many candidate forums we ended up having across the state. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. And if you want to watch one, go to Missoula Democrats' YouTube page, and you can watch our full forum that we put on.
Yes, you can.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And so you were one of, I think, over 20 that happened across the state.
Yeah.
And these were local committees who said, I'm going to get these candidates into my community so that my community members can ask them questions and they can be held to account right there and right then. And so, when you start to see things like that, you start to move the ball in the right direction. Mm-hmm. So it's so exciting that what we can do this year with that.
Yeah. It was really cool to see small counties like Madison, for example, like the town of Alder held a forum in Missoula and Bozeman and just small communities, big communities, everybody's putting in the time and energy needed to win this election.
Yeah, and it's so important just to, be face to face with people, and those candidates put in so much work to do that. They were back to back to back, meeting with people all over the state.
Right.
And so, meanwhile, I think I only saw one on the Republican side, right?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
They only did one.
It's a huge difference. It's interesting.
And I have to say, in places big and small where they've been holding these, people are showing up to these forums. Mm-hmm. These rooms are packed. It's just, it's so exciting to see that, to your point, our candidates are willing to work, to show up in these communities. Yeah. It's so exciting.
So I believe that Democrats genuinely want to make people's lives better. And I think a lot of other fellow Democrats would agree. In your opinion, how have Democrats done this in the past? How can we do this today and in the future? And how can we make that a winning message for voters, making people's lives better?
That's like the golden ticket here, right? I believe you're right. We are Democrats because we want every American to have a right to live, to thrive, to be successful. And, that's what we've done in the past through our support with unions to help bring about the middle class and to get weekends, making, workers' rights a forefront issue by supporting the LGBTQ community to make sure that everyone has a right to live and love as they are with dignity and have opportunities, open to them and not taken from them. The fact that we are pushing measures together always, we're trying to move stuff forward, to progress, to make sure that people have the opportunity to live in this country in the best possible way. Obamacare, for example, my goodness, there's a big one. If we can keep moving the needle of progress and delivering on things like this, this is what we do as Democrats, right? But I think what's also important, when we start getting people who show up to these local committees and talk to a volunteer fire department, they're like, wow, we really need a grant to make sure that we have oxygen tanks that are, up to code. Great, and they can help drive money back to these small communities. It's about making everything safer at all levels and making sure that we're supporting people in every walk of life to make sure that they can live and thrive. And we all have a right to a pursuit of happiness here in this country, and it's been maybe never for a lot of people that they've actually had that as a baseline. And so if we keep driving toward that, that's absolutely what we need to be doing.
Yeah.
Great.
There have been a lot of changes in people's lives recently, and they're seeing headlines in the national news and things that are kind of scary and overwhelming sometimes, whether they're, things that are targeting specific groups, things that are making it harder for people to vote, things that are just, getting more and more expensive, right? And so a lot of people who come to our meetings feel kind of overwhelmed, and what we get a lot is, what can I do?
Right.
What could I actually do in the face of all that's happening in the world? And how do you answer that when people come to you with that question?
It is Right now, it is so easy to become overwhelmed. What is happening? I can't even watch the news half the time, to be honest with you. It's too overwhelming. And, what I've always lived by is I control what I can control.
Yeah.
Right? So get involved in something that you are able to manage, something that you can have influence over, something that you can help with. For example, I was just down in Butte to see Pete Buttigieg promoting the Montana plan. Yeah. There were folks out there collecting signatures to get the Montana plan on the ballot. Yeah. You can go learn on their website about how to collect signatures. You can help them. That is something so easy. Talk to your neighbors, get a signature. You can, on election day, you know what I mean? You can knock on doors if that's your jam. You can write postcards for the November election. Back in Pennsylvania, I had a committee member who, would babysit people's kids for them so they could do those things. Yeah. So, it's thinking outside the box about what you have to offer, what you're passionate about, and how you can be a puzzle piece to work with everyone else's puzzle pieces to move everything forward. But again, not letting the big things overwhelm you, because it's going to do that, 10 out of 10 times. But when you can just day by day do a manageable little bit that you feel good about and you're passionate about, wow, you could hopefully go to sleep that night and know that you're moving the ball in the right direction.
Right. What do they call it? Eating an elephant one bite at a time?
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
An elephant.
Yeah, this might be a good analogy right now.
Yep.
Okay, what is the Montana Democratic Party's ground game? What is the party's infrastructure strategy to grow the party and win elections?
Oh, well, so exciting to be everywhere. To make sure that we have a Democratic committee presence in every single county. And Andy, you know this better than anyone. We have a central committee getting started up in Prairie County right now. So exciting. We are supporting organizers going into our different county committees. So Lake County is getting one. Flathead County is probably next in line, and then maybe Raleigh County after that, to make sure that we're getting everyone the support they need to do the work they're doing. Yeah. So to make sure we have a presence everywhere, to make sure they have the resources and the support they need to do the work, and to trust the people on the ground when they are telling us what needs to happen in their area, and then driving the resources to them to make sure that they can accomplish that, and doing what we can to support them, and just building up a true grassroots organization. And, we had a big presence at the Bucking Horse sale over in Miles City. So making sure we're investing in our rural counties and making sure our rural counties know that, Democrats are there, they're present, they're alive and well in these rural counties. And we're here to do work to make sure that people are getting elected to serve the needs of these counties. Toasty was passionate about that one.
Yeah.
He really felt strongly about that. He was like, yes, right with you, organizer.
Keep it going, Emily.
I think that's huge, because so much is local here, right? And, talking about building things from the bottom up, that's really looking at the stuff that's affecting our community, that's making it harder to hunt or fish, or that's making us worried about the fish that we pull out of our rivers, or, data centers coming in, all these sorts of things are things that people care about, and we should be talking about with them.
Right.
So
that's right. And this isn't about us driving that message. It's about us listening to all these folks in these communities about what that message needs to be and what they want to see.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's all the questions I had. Is there anything that you want to tell our audience / voters, people that will be voting?
Well, primary is June 2nd. So make sure if you have a mail-in ballot, you haven't sent that in yet, you're going to take that to your county elections office, or I believe you can take it to the poll and also turn it in there, correct? Yep. So you want to make sure, don't put it in the mail at this point, or make sure that you go to your polling location and vote on June 2nd, and you're going to turn out and vote in November again. So exciting, but also get involved with your local Democratic committee. Yes. You don't want to do that, get involved with the Montana plan, get some signatures, find something you're passionate about, and just get involved. And Toasty's, gaining her sea legs here as a hype woman, so she'll be improved next time.
Right, if this doesn't make you want to get involved, I'm not sure what does at this point. She is so cuddly. Thank you for bringing her.
Absolutely.
And thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
All right.